it happens. It's all connected by the sewers. What happened? If we stick together, all of us will win.
Make it a wonderful day.
It, rated R, September 8th.
Yeah, this isn't your mother's It. This isn't the one where Tim Curry's literally going on the screen like, whoa, whoa, whoa. No, this is a different kind of It, and a good kind of It in a way. I don't know what that whole thing was about, but welcome to Time About the Movies, everybody. We've got ourselves another double weekend here, September 8th and September 15th. I decided to combine them together because two movies are memorable this week, these next 2 weekends. The others, not so much. But let's get to definitely the most memorable movie of this 2-week stretch we have here, and that is, of course, the film adaptation of Stephen King's It, which, as I mentioned before, was previously adapted into a TV miniseries back in the 1990s, early 1990s, starring Tim Curry in the original role of Pennywise, which was way too over-the-top and cartoonish, even when he's trying to be scary, but it's a fun kind of over-the-top cartoonish way. I mean, it's Tim Curry. The guy can do no wrong, but, yeah, you watch this new version, and not only is Pennywise working because he's over-the-top and cartoonish, but he is downright terrifying in this. As the story goes, you have the story of 7 children in Derry, Maine, who are terrorized by the eponymous being, only to face their own personal demons in the process. And like I said, Bill Skarsgård is downright terrifying in this movie. This is the centerpiece of the movie, and he just changes into this creepy persona that we have not seen from him in other roles, but really, this is a role that's on the caliber of Heath Ledger in The Dark Knight. That's how good this performance is. Like, this dude transforms into this creepy motherfucker, and it just works. From the very beginning, that scene in the beginning where he's hiding on the sewer with Georgie trying to get his little paper boat back, and you just see him just the eyes alone. Like, that is, I mean, it just hooks you in right from the get-go, and you're just like, oh my god, you are terrifying, but I cannot look away. Please continue with what you're about to do to this poor kid. And yeah, they go all the way with it here. I mean, this kid gets fucked up pretty badly, and, you know, that's one thing you couldn't do on television, because in the original version, they just cut away from it because TV audience, but no, not in this movie. The kid actors overall in here are really good. You've got a cast of some of the strongest young actors in the game: Jaden Liebner, Jeremy Ray Taylor, Sophia Lillis, Finn Wolfhard, Wyatt Olaf, Chosen Jacobs, and Jack Dylan Glazer. They all work together really well, and the script does a good job of making these kids act like real kids. I mean, this thing does a very good job of giving you what you need to see from this to get behind these kids overall and want to see them succeed in conquering their biggest fears. Because, yeah, and it helps that the visual look of the movie is amazing. The director, Andres Muschietti, who just did Mamba before this, you know, he does a great job of creating this terrifying and stylistic atmosphere to Derry, Maine. And the visuals in here are impressive to look at, even in the way that they're silly. And I'll get to one of those big ones in just a second. But that does lead into some of the negative things I can say about the movie. Some of the other adult actors in here are pretty bland and forgettable and very stereotypical of their character traits. And there's really nothing about the memorable about those characters in particular at all. And like I said, there are times when it gets incredibly too silly, even for its own intentions. Like, there's one scene in particular where Pennywise is dancing that's almost as laughably stupid as Johnny Depp's breakdancing in Alice in Wonderland. It's that stupid, and moments like that kind of take you out of the movie, but in other ways, it's just like, okay, now, you know, this director did The Flash as well, and, you know, his big thing was that, well, it's supposed to look terrible. I mean, it's just like, it's supposed to be that. That's a lame excuse here. And the reason why I think he did this was because he got away with it in this movie. But I will say this for it works here because it fits the creepy atmosphere of what the performance is trying to do, even if it is stupid. But in The Flash, when he's trying to use that same excuse, it's just like, dude, you can't use that same excuse for a movie that's supposed to be completely different from your movie It, with The Flash. But, nevertheless, this is still a genuinely effective and creepy movie boasted by its main stars, its impressive visuals, some well-made jump scares, and it is definitely a vast improvement over the Stephen King novels that the 1990 version was, easily. It's a really good movie, and we'll see it in a couple of years with It Chapter 2, which doesn't quite live up to the same hype as the first film does, but it's still alright for what it is, so. And now let's get to something that may be just as terrifying as It, and that is, of course, a generic-ass Reese Witherspoon romantic comedy called Home Again. Ah! I'm sorry for that. I don't know what I was doing with that whole thing, but here's Home Again.
Single.
Me and the birth with me asked for your ID.
Okay.
Definitely old enough to drink.
Me too. Obviously.
Starting a business.
Do you want to show me the room?
To have a blowout.
Okay, so the meeting's over.
And 3 guys just moved into her guest house.
Try looking at this as something exciting.
From the producer of It's Complicated, The Holiday, and The Intern.
Oh my god.
Home Again.
You seem to be handling everything really well.
Have fun!
Rated PG-13.
I don't know what's worse, the generic plot of this movie or the fact that the announcer literally sounds like he's an AI robot. Like, listen to the way he says, from the producers of It's Complicated, The Holiday, and The Intern. Like, it does not feel like a real person is saying that. It feels like one of the early examples of AI. But the biggest problem with this movie right from the get-go is that it's another one of those movies that feels like a TV pilot, except that you got big names like Reese Witherspoon and Candice Bergen and Michael Sheehan. Also, you got Nat Wolff, John Rudnitsky, Pico Alexander in here. And Nancy Meyers is one of the producers on this, and her daughter, Hallie Meyershire, is the director here. So, Reese Witherspoon plays a 40-year-old single mother who allows 3 young aspiring filmmakers to live with her in her Los Angeles home, which in any other sense would be the beginnings of a porno movie. Like, I really was expecting a scene in this movie where, one of them finds out that one of them's actually is working in porn, and they want Reese Witherspoon to be in it. Now that would have made this movie much more interesting, but no. It's rated PG-13. It's a generic, bland-ass romantic comedy, and not a good one either. I mean, it's just a boring movie, man. I mean, it's a movie where literally everyone involved in this is much better than the actual source material here. It's just, even the director of this movie, maybe not the director here, because I believe this was the first time she ever directed a movie. Yeah, this was the first thing she ever directed. But, you got somebody who has worked with some really good. This is the daughter of. I'm getting so flabbergasted here that I can't even speak straight. This is a movie written. This movie is made by the person whose parents are Nancy Meyers and Charles Shire, 2 people who gave us some of the best romantic comedies of the 1990s. I mean, Father of the Brides Parts 1 and 2, The Parent Trap, What Women Want. I mean, Nancy Meyers is a great director. She's made a lot of really good stuff. Watching this movie, it really does feel like this was just a movie that was basically given to this, getting made because her daughter she's the daughter of 2 very successful romantic comedy filmmakers, and that's about it. This is a prime example of nepotism at its worst here, because yeah, there's nothing about this movie that makes it unique or anything that engaging overall. And like I said, all the people involved in this movie deserve much better than this lazy script overall. I mean, it makes a lot of sense why this woman has not directed much since then. She did a Michael Keaton movie, which ties back into what's coming up after this movie, but called Goodrich, which I've never seen before, but I've never heard anybody say it's that good overall. But yeah, it's a generic movie. It's the type of film that it's a movie that you take your gal pals out to on a Friday night. You go ahead and get dressed up, drink your Chardonnay and all that, gab throughout the course of the movie, and then when the film is over and your husband asks you what you think of the film, and you probably ask yourself, did I see a movie tonight? It's one of those type of movies, and not a very good one, so you can avoid Home Again. But speaking of Michael Keaton, he is in our next movie, the first film of September 15th, and that is American Assassin.
We do here.
Kill people who need to be killed.
Exactly.
We got a problem. The nuclear trigger went missing.
Thousands are gonna burn.
What do I need to know about this guy?
The enemy dresses like a deer and he kills like a lion. And that's what we gotta do. We just gotta do it better. American Assassin, rated R, in theaters this Friday.
Of course, another wonderful installment of the American film trilogy that began, of course, back in 1999 with American Pie, then American Pie 2, then American Wedding, and then kind of took over with American Reunion. And then they took a radical turn into severe drama with American Sniper, and then going back into wacky comedy with American Ultra, and now American Assassin. This is a film series that has gone through so many different iterations overall that I'm really surprised that all of you probably out there don't know that I'm completely BSing with you. This has nothing to do with any of the movies I mentioned overall. I just like the fact that this movie is literally called American Assassin, and yet it takes place in Spain. Spain is not a part of America, last time I checked. But But I digress. American Assassin, based off the novel by Vince Flynn, and it centers around Dylan O'Brien from The Maze Runner as a young CIA Black Ops recruit, Mitch Rapp, who helps a Cold War veteran played by Bruce Willis to try to stop the detonation of a rogue nuclear weapon. You also have Sanan Lathan and Taylor Kitsch involved. Directed by Michael Kesta, who gave us Kill the Messenger. And one of the screenwriters are Edward Zwick and Marshall Herskovitz, who also wrote Jack Reacher, Never Go Back. And really, that's about all the things about it that are memorable about this movie. This is pretty bland and forgettable. And you have a movie with Michael Keaton in it. And Michael Keaton, even in the worst movies he's in, can usually do no wrong. But here, he's just kind of half-assed in here, as is everybody else in here. It's a boring-ass movie, man. And, you know, kind of like with Home Again, it's just stuff we've seen done before. You know, there's been much better movies similar to this, and this film just doesn't do it any favors overall. The action sequences themselves are not even that interesting at all. Like, it's a movie where people are going to see the movie called American Assassin to see the action, and there's none of that in this movie, so why the hell am I even here? Like, what's the point of even making this movie if you're not going to do anything about it? It's just, I mean, actually, the beginning he's in Spain. He's actually in Libya for most of the movie. But even still, not in America. So why is it even called American Assassin? You could have just called it Assassin, and I think nobody would have made a big deal out of it. But yeah, I don't know, man. It's a bland, forgettable movie, man. It's just, I mean, it's the type of movie that you think is going to be something with the cast they've assembled here. They've got a marketing campaign that feels like it could be something, but it just never delivers on it at the end. So with that said, let's go ahead and move on to our last movie here, and that is Darren Aronofsky's latest film, Jennifer Lawrence and Javier Bardem, starring in Mother, or as Daffy Duck would say, Mother.
Brings you to us.
Well, they told me I could find a room here. He thought we were at a bed and breakfast.
He's a stranger. Hello? Did you know he had a wife? Who are these people?
They've come here to see me.
Come quick! You're insane! God help you.
Well, to be honest, I think some people want to call Jennifer Lawrence Mother. No one around here in particular, but some people out there. This might get uncomfortable, so let's just go ahead and move on to this, because trust me, the movie itself is just as effed up as my thinking right here, but Jennifer Lawrence stars as a young woman whose tranquil life with her husband Javier Bardem at their country home is disrupted by the arrival of a mysterious couple played by Ed Harris and Michelle Pfeiffer, leading to a series of increasingly chaotic and destructive events. So, there was a movie back in the 1990s, early 1990s, called Madhouse, which featured John Larroquette and Kirstie Alley as this couple who who invite all these people into their home and they just start causing chaos there. This movie feels like that, except take the comedy out of there and take some pretty dark, basically take the dark sadistic turn that movie, Madhouse, should have had, and put it into this movie here. And you've got a movie that is really, really interesting in so many different ways. It's a movie that is definitely a very polarizing film. A film that is going to be a film that not everyone is going to love. It's a movie that is a very thought-provoking movie, and one that is literally a messed up film on so many levels. I mean, the cinema score for this movie is literally an F. And usually cinema score is much more reliable than Rotten Tomatoes, but the fact that this thing had a rare cinema score of F, you know, Aronofsky even came out and said, how, if you walk out of this movie, are you not going to give it an F? We wanted to make a punk movie and come at you. And the reason I wanted to come is because I was very sad, and I had a lot of anguish and wanted to express it. Well, he certainly did, and hey, at least from my perspective, he made a great movie, man, because yeah, it's a movie that is very much effed up in so many ways, and it just feels like a movie that you have to be in the right mindset to have this dark, sadistic mind to really appreciate what it is, and yeah, I think it's a movie that really was not going to be a massive crowd pleaser overall. It's a movie it's a thinking man's movie. It's a film that has to make you think, and I miss movies like this where, you know, the audience has to really think about what they're looking at here. You can't get the straight answers you want, but you have to think about it. It's like a Gone Girl situation where the movie is asking you to think for yourself here, and you know, this is one of those times where I'm willing to accept that fact. This isn't like a movie like Swing Vote, where the whole ending is just like, decide for yourself which side he picks. I'm out of here, motherfuckers. No, this is a movie that literally is telling you, no, you got to go in there and you have to think about what you want, is how you have to feel about this. How do you feel coming out of it? And I'll tell you, when I watched it long after it came out, I was kind of like, yeah, this is a movie that is very effed up, but in a way, I appreciate it for going that route here. They don't make movies like this anymore, man. They don't make movies where it just goes all in and just goes gonzo nuts with it. And it worked. It worked for me, at least. I thought it was very good. I thought it works very well. I thought the acting overall was really good. And, you know, let's put it this way. It's a movie that is so polarizing that Darren Aronofsky couldn't get any work for a long time. I mean, he didn't return again until he did The Whale, which won Brendan Fraser an Academy Award and put him back on track here. And, of course, he just recently did Caught Stealing, which I haven't gotten to watch it yet, but I'm kind of looking forward to it. I've got the DVD over here as part of the ABC Movie Buying Challenge. I've been following that, but overall, yeah, it's definitely a movie that is not going to be an acclaimed film. It's not going to be another Black Swan where it's got the mass appeal to it overall. No, it's a movie where you got to go into it with a specific mindset. And yeah, apparently I went into the mindset that really enjoyed it for how effed up it was, and I came out of it really enjoying it. I think it is a very dark, sadistic film, and sometimes you need a good dark, sadistic film in your life to realize that, hey, the world is dangerous out there, but it doesn't mean that you have to go into this world with this depressing attitude because of a film like this. At least that's my thinking behind it. For some of you, that probably may not make any sense, and now that I'm thinking about it, yeah, it probably doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But bottom line, Mother is a good movie. Let's just go with that. How about that? And thus, with all that said, we wrap up another episode of Time About the Movies, and the next time we meet, it's a big weekend on September 22nd. We have the sequel to Kingsman: The Secret Service, this time Kingsman: The Golden Circle. And not only that, we have the latest Lego spin-off movie coming just a couple of months after the Lego Batman movie. Unfortunately, was not as successful as that one is, but the Lego Ninjago movie is still pretty good. We have another horror movie that's trying to become the next big horror sensation with Friend Request. And we have yet another movie taking place around the Boston Marathon bombing, Stronger, with Jake Gyllenhaal in it. As well as the long-awaited return for Jonathan Dayton and Valerie Ferris. Their first movie since they did what was the name? Now I can't remember the name of it. Why can't I remember the name of it now? Ruby Sparks, that's what it was. That was the first film they had done after Little Miss Sunshine. For some reason, I thought it was Ruby Versus, but no. Those two directors are back with a new film. Emma Stone's first big movie after she won the Oscar for La La Land the year before, along with Steve Carell, starring in Battle of the Sexes, the tennis comedy. Not even a comedy, the tennis drama. So we'll take a look at those 5 movies coming up on the next episode, that of course will be tomorrow. Kingsman: The Golden Circle, Lego Ninjago, Friend Request Stronger, Battle of the Sexes. So, with all that said, thank you so much for watching this, and I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please go ahead and do me the honors of hitting that like button, that subscribe button, and that notification button. Also, don't forget to check out our playlist, and don't forget to check out the previous episode we did. So with all that said, whether it's in the past, the present, or the future, I will see you at the movies. Take care.